everyone, it's Cheryl from Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds. How do we handle art? Is it done as a whole group? Is it done in small groups? Is it done during centers time? Is it done during its own time? I get these questions all the time. And when I got 3 the other day, I decided I need to do a video about this. So that's what I'm going to do today. First of all, for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm Cheryl, and I have been teaching 2 and 3-year-olds for over 25 years. And I love to share what we do in the classroom. I encourage you to check out my other videos in my channel so that you can see what we do in our classroom. But today I am going to talk about the art table because, as I said, it has especially lately been a popular question. And I want to address it because if you've seen my classroom themed videos, you will notice that there is art offered every day. So art is done during centers time. Our centers time is the first hour of our morning, and it's free choice. And I talk about that in my centers time videos, so you can check out that playlist. And it is set up for our art for that day. So I get everything ready before the children arrive. And then after they're settled, I open the art table. Again, it's part of our centers, so children can come and go. This means that no, it's not the whole entire class at one time. Although I must say with 2-year-olds, they love to travel together, and sometimes they do want everyone to be there at the same time. But our table is only so big. We have 6 chairs, so we have 6 come over at a time, 6 or less. So as soon as I open that art table, children can come up and they can paint. It's not mandatory that children participate. I encourage them, and if I notice that a child just for some reason isn't interested, I'll try to find something I think might bring them over, might entice them. But unless it's a special project like a Christmas gift or a Mother's Day gift, it's completely up to them. Very rarely do I have a child who very rarely wants to be part of the art table. So what I do is before the children arrive in the morning, I make sure to set everything up, everything ready to go. The children come in, they get settled in their centers. I don't bring out the materials until everyone is here and I have everyone settled, because the art table takes a teacher to really watch it because of the paint, and especially at the beginning of the year with 2-year-olds, it is not uncommon, and it happened to me the other day. If you saw my Instagram stories, a child had the paintbrush and just took the paintbrush, stood up, and started painting all down the table, and then went over to the sensory bin and went across the sensory bin and went to a chair and went up the wall. So it really does take a teacher to be monitoring that area, so I don't open it up until I know I have a teacher over there and ready. Once we open up the art table, there are 6 chairs, so up to 6 children can sit at that place. Now, I don't like to limit how many children can be at each center, and I've talked about that. But the centers that have chairs, that's a little bit more difficult, although I have had children find solutions. I remember last year, one child saw that all 6 chairs were taken, and he found another chair and pushed it up at the end of the table. And you know, it worked. Or another time, a child decided he saw that somebody else needed to sit down. He stood up and let that child take his place. So children are amazing, even 2-year-olds, they can figure it out. But if all 6 chairs are taken and another child comes along and there isn't room, I will say, when there's a spot available, you're welcome to join us. So again, the art table is during centers time. It's not mandatory. Children can come and they can go. And I have some children who will stay at the art table for quite a while. And once they're finished with whatever art activity we have, they'll want to keep on going. So I'll just give them a blank piece of paper where they can continue to paint. Or we might cover the entire table with paper. We have rolls of paper that are wonderful for covering the whole table. And we especially do this during the beginning of the year when they really want to make big marks with paint, and they'll go beyond whatever we've given them. So we will put we'll put the roll of paper down first, then we'll put the trays with the activities on top, and if they want to continue painting, they can paint on that white paper. And if it is an art activity that requires a lot of movement, let's say it is using that big piece of paper, we might pull the chairs away and have them stand so that they can move around. But it's always done during centers time. And some tips to make it easier: our gallons of paint are downstairs in our supply room. Our classroom is on the main level. So what we do is we have these small plastic squeezable bottles, and we go downstairs and we fill them up from the big jugs, because I do not want to carry those big jugs up and down. So we fill these with them, and we keep these in our classroom. We make sure to have plenty of paintbrushes. We also have pipettes and other things. We have watercolor palettes, those are a favorite. We have these paint pots that we use for the easel, and sometimes we'll just open these up and we'll use these also at the art table. We've got assorted trays depending on what we're dipping into the paint, and we keep all of this in a cabinet that's right next to the art table. That way we've got everything we need right there. Also, our art table is right by our hand washing sink. This is really important because our children love to get their hands in paint, or they might be even if they're using the paintbrush, they're getting it on their hands. When they're done, they put their work on the drying rack, and let's see, we're 4 weeks into the school year, and we're just now learning how to pick up our artwork when we're finished and walk it over and put it on the drying rack. Then that signals they're finished. They can then wash their hands with soap and water, get their towels, throw their towel away. We're trying to make them as independent as they can with a few reminders here and there. But it does make it easier to have your art table near a sink for that reason. Also in our art area, we have our easel. So that is a connection to our art table. Again, it's near the sink, it's near the paint, and we use these, or we'll use little cups at the easel, but I like to keep it all in the same area. So where you have your art table really makes a difference as well. Another question I get asked is, what do you do about group projects? How do you take those home? Because obviously it's one big piece of paper and I can't send it home. What I do is I take a picture of it, because we have a photo slideshow that goes home at the end of each week. And I tell my parents at the start of the school year that a lot of what we do at school won't go home in a backpack. So that's why it's important to watch the photo show so you can get a good idea of what we do in the classroom. So group projects do not go home. Again, I'll take pictures of it, videos of it, put those in the photo show, and then we'll hang it up to display in the classroom. I did have somebody once comment a few months ago that she just couldn't believe that our children did not take something home in their cubby every single day, and how sad the parents would be that there wasn't something in the cubby. And that kind of surprised me, because not everything is about the finished product. Not everything has to go home, and our parents are going to understand. Especially if you document with photos and show the parents, look, this is what we did. You didn't see it at home, but they had a lot of fun and they can see the process of it. Another question I get asked is about instruction. Do I tell them ahead of time what's going to happen and show them how to use the materials? First of all, a lot of what we do in my 2-year-old classroom is open-ended process art. So that means there isn't a lot of instruction, because it's how they want to do it. In fact, in my opinion, the less instruction the better, because if I'm giving them a lot of instruction, then that becomes more teacher-led. I want it to be child-led. I want the children to look at what they have available and think, how do I want to use this? But I am there to show them in case they need help. knowing how to use a paintbrush, especially at the beginning of the year. Or how do they put their paintbrush into the container of paint and then onto the paper? That is why during Center's time, including the art table, there is a teacher observing and ready to assist when needed. But a lot of instruction is not needed because I want them to think about how they want to do. It's their work. And I will find that about halfway through the school year, I might have children ask for additional materials, which I love. They might say, oh, do you have paper I can add to this? Or crayons I can add to this? Or I want a different color paint. That's okay. It's their work, and I want to honor that. When the art project is finished, as I said earlier, the children then put it on the drying rack where it dries thoroughly. Then we might display it in the classroom. Then it goes in their backpacks to go home. And I love displaying their artwork in our classroom because this is their space. So I love their work on the walls. So I love to be able to display it first and then it goes home. So bottom line, I like to keep things very simple. I'm watching and seeing what they're interested in because every year it's different. Some years I have children who really, really love the watercolor palette, so I know to bring those out more often. Other times they love the paint more often, so I bring that out. Get to know your students and what they love. I hope that answers the question on when we do art and how we do art and how I manage art. And make sure to follow Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds on Instagram because in my stories, I like to do snippets of what we do in the classroom, and that's the best way for you to get a peek at Center's time, such as art. Please make sure to click, like, and subscribe as that really helps my channel. Thanks for watching.